Hello friends, welcome to part 17 of the React tutorial series. So in this part we are going to learn about context API. So what is this context API? So context API provides a way to pass data through the component tree without having to pass the props through down manually at every level. So what does that mean? That means, see, suppose our structure is like that. We have an app component, then we have a component A, component B, and component C. So our component C needs some props. So in the common scenario, what will happen, the app component will pass it as a props the data which is required by component C. It will pass as a props to component A, the component A will pass to component B, and then component B will pass to component C. So actually component A and B doesn't require the data, but then also they have to pass it through because the dependency is like that. So this is not a proper way, because what if there are 100 levels of parent child structure? So then it have to pass through all those 100 levels. So one way to solve this problem is Redux, to have a global state and use the state wherever it is needed. But Redux is sometimes too complex for a simple application. So in simple application, context may be considered as a replacement for Redux, because we can Redux at the end it also do that, it's maintain a global state. So here also you can have a global state or some data in the app component, and that app component, that data can be used anywhere, it doesn't matter, anywhere. 100 parent child structure is there, it doesn't matter, and you can use it like Redux. So but it is for simple applications. We will soon see why simple, and it cannot replace Redux completely, but yeah, it is a simple. So let us go back. So this is the app from my earlier earlier part. Okay, so we will create here only as usual. So we'll create three components: a child, a parent, and a grandparent. So let me come to component, child.js, just a simple component, class based component, child component, then we are going to have a parent.js, RCE, and what this parent will do, this will just have the child. And now similarly I will have a grandparent.js, RCE, and as you might have guessed, it will call the parent. Let me save it. Okay, so now let me go back to my app. Let me remove all this thing from the previous tutorial. Let me remove this all also, and let me call grandparent, and when I call grandparent, it will show the child component address. like this. So in a normal scenario, if I want to pass something from from app to the child, I have to pass it to the grandparent, then to the parent, and then it will go to the child. So that is obvious, that is very simple thing. But we don't want this thing. We want something to be created here and be used anywhere down the line. So let us do that. So what we are going to do here, we are going to create user context.js. So we create context like this: import react from react. Then we have a react dot use create context. We will use that const user context equal to react dot create context. So it is already showing me, so like this. And now in a context we have a provider and a consumer. We'll soon see what they do. So const user provider, so this is also provided us by the user context, and we are assigning it to a variable user context, which we have created here, user context dot provider. It is already showing me. Const user consumer equal to user context dot consumer. And now export user provider comma user consumer. So I did it. Now what we are going to do, we go back to the app.js, and the provider, we need to wrap the provider in a place which is the root of our application. So what happened, whatever we want to pass, we can pass from here, and we can get it from anywhere. So what we are going to do, we are going to use the user provider to wrap the grandparent. So user provider, see, it's already took user provider, and whatever we want to pass, we can pass it like this: value equal to a bindu, and we can use it like that. And now we want to use this value, this thing, we want to pass it to the child without even touching the parent and a grandparent. So how do we do it? With the context. So for context, we will use the user consumer. So we will go here and user, again we have to wrap it user consumer. So user consumer is also taken from user context, and after that we have to create a function like this. And now we have to create a JSX in which we have to create a function user name. Anything we can write. This is the, see, one thing is there. If I can show the value, this is value, we are passing the prop as value, but we are using it as a username here. So we can use any name here, it doesn't matter. And then like this, return. Let's bring our data here. So all of our data will now go here inside this, and we can use it. So let me wrap it in a fragment. because I want it as h1, and now we will use our value. So s3 hello user name, just like this. Let me save it and see, we are able to use Nabendu without even passing it to the parent and the grandparent. We are not even touching them. So this is how it is done. So actually there is another easier way to use context, and they are used interchangeably. So this way is preferred way, because what happened in this way, we can pass more props. Okay, so there is another way that is much more easier, so we will see that. So it has a lot of boilerplate type of code, means we have to wrap everything in user consumer and then this. So the other way, for the other way, we have to come here, we'll keep the existing thing, export default user context. So what we are giving, we are directly exporting this also. Okay, so let me save it, and then I will come to let's say another component. See, and child I am using that way, and parent I am using this way. So we can have both the code in this way. So here import user context from user context, and then I have to come here and static context type. Okay, and this is also a keyword, a static context type equal to user context. I will just give like this, and now we will see how easy it is. Let us, for using it, let me do multi-line, then let me do a fragment. So let me have some data also here, h1 parent welcomes only this dot context. This dot context we have to do a child. Let me put back the child. So see, this is so simple, but it has got lot of keywords. User context we are doing, then static context, this is also keyword, and we are using this, and then this dot context we can use it. So simple it is. So in comparison to let me save it and show it, it is working. It is working in comparison to the child where we had wrap it with the user consumer. It is very easy. So this it's all about context API, and hope you use it in your smaller project, and don't go for a complex solution like Redux when it is not required to. If you want to just pass some props, you can use it always. So thank you and see you soon.